Okay, well, hello everybody. I could just coming into this Zoom room with the people already here just feels like such a high, pure vibration. It's just so great to step into it and be able to like take the flame and move it to the next marker or whatever that we're doing here. So,
well, the flame I'm going to take right now is to introduce this amazing gentleman that's joined us. Reverend Darren Starwynn is an internationally known master teacher, inventor, workshop leader, and coach. He serves as lead minister of Lightworker Ministry, a nonprofit spiritual organization. Darren is the author of 4 groundbreaking books and has developed energy medical devices used internationally. Reverend Darren is committed to helping organize global activations to accelerate planetary healing and to innovate new solutions for supporting people with mental and emotional imbalances to recover and claim their spiritual greatness. He trains doctors, holistic health professionals, and business leaders to bring their work and consciousness up to the quantum level and act as master healers and leaders through the Bridge of Masterly Consciousness Institute. Check out Darren's best-selling book, Awakening the Avatar Within, a roadmap to uncover your superpowers, upgrade your body, and uplift humanity. You can reach him through lightworkerministry.com. And I just have to add to this, Darren, your book, Awakening the Avatar Within, is one of the best books I have ever read.
wow,
and it has been an incredibly uplifting experience to read it again, and do some of the practices. And all I can do is say, thank you for your gift to the world. Now we'll turn it over to you. Thank you for being here.
well, Janice, thank you for that beautiful introduction and for everything you've been doing all week. And I hope you'll have a good break after this. but I'm sure that the grace that is flowing through you must make up for the amount of energy you've been putting out. So I'm very excited to be part of this World Unity Week, and I thank everybody who's showing up here. And what we've been doing every Friday since last September has been taking 15 minutes to come together and focus on planetary healing. And that's how Janice and I connected with each other, because we were on the unity.earth meeting of people who are offering various kinds of services. And I happened to mention that I was offering, working with global healing. And she said, wow, that's what my organization does. And we found that we had a great connection. And then she invited me to speak at her group, and we've become good friends since then. And now I appreciate you inviting me to this. So that's what so we've been doing every Friday for 15 minutes, starting at 12 noon Pacific time. And then that'd be 3 p.m. Eastern time, and people from other countries have joined us, is something very powerful. And it's something that I feel is not appreciated or understood well enough, the power that we have to change the planet. And, when you hear the words change the planet, it can sound idealistic, like something like a wish someday, or, something like that. But I would say this is very, very practical. And I love the fact Christy Michaels, who's here with us, offered a presentation 2 days ago about how the Berlin Wall was brought down by the power of consciousness and love, starting with, one person's prayer had a big part of it. And she talked about how women who are being terrorized and just hurt so badly in Africa came together and shifted a whole government, policies. And so there's a tremendous power here. And we've seen it change weather conditions. Like the worst drought in the history of Australia was changed into the highest rainfall in 30 years by the power of group consciousness several years ago. So this is the power that's been described through quantum physics, as Christy talked about. how our consciousness can shift matter. And so that's what we've been doing for 15 minutes, is focusing our consciousness together on the earth, on sending love and blessings to the earth. And the message we got, the download we got last summer when my partner Karen and I were in the Rocky Mountains, is that there is a specific way to do that that has tremendous power. And what that is when we're all focusing at the same time and we're seeing a vision of the light of the divine filling and surrounding the earth, and just holding, radiating love and compassion, and seeing the earth is already healed. You see, because that's the principle of quantum physics, quantum healing, which is something that I work with and teach, is that it's very different. Because I used to be an acupuncturist for a long, long time. And as an acupuncturist, people would come and say, I feel depressed, or my shoulder is hurting, or I'm addicted to cigarettes, or whatever the case is. And I would use methods to try to help them relieve that symptom, right? I mean, it makes sense, right? That's what most of us are doing. The difference with quantum healing is that you don't focus on what's wrong. You see the person or the client is already healed, is already in their perfection. And it takes training to be able to do that. I mean, that's not easy for most of us. So we would do that with the earth. We saw the earth is already healed, already whole. People already cooperating and using our science and technology and our volunteerism and our intelligence and even our politicians and our courts, and to make it a better place and to solve all these issues. So it's very different than focusing on the issues. So what we're going to do is continue, because this is the 15-minute period, with that prayer and that blessing for the rest of the 15 minutes. And then the rest of this hour will actually be a mini workshop in quantum healing that you can participate in and experience and share with. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to share a video I have here, which has some beautiful images for this purpose. And by the way, this is being streamed on social media right now. So these are some images I put together which support this consciousness of global healing. So you can either look at these or just close your eyes and focus on whatever you're getting. I'm also going to put on some music, which can be very helpful too. So a light worker is anybody who is dedicated to bringing greater light to themselves and to humanity and to others. And you are all light workers. You may use different terms for this. And the quantum field is the field of infinite potentiality from which everything arises, anything we can conceive of and even what we can't even conceive of, ranging from a supernova to a banana to the tip of your toe, all comes from the quantum field and all returns to the quantum field. So when we tap into the quantum field with a clear and open mind and heart, there is unlimited creative power in that. And when multiple ones of us focus together, it's exponentially increased. So we're at a great time of transition and ascension on Earth right now, a deep type of choice on our planet. As a human race, we're making the choice now what planet we're going to leave to our children and our descendants. And this is an absolutely crucial time. And the greatest power to make positive change is within consciousness. So there are so many people who are doing great work, great humanitarian work in so many levels, and political work and social justice work and growing food and reaching out in so many ways. And every action is so needed and so precious. And yet, for this to be successful and actually shift our planet past this crisis point into the place where we do blossom as the new society we can be, the greatest power is the power of consciousness and the power of unified consciousness. And yes, this is a similar mission to the global coherence. We're on the same page there. So there's a term that many people have heard, the second coming of the Christ. And I want to say what that means to me. The Christ is universal consciousness of love and unity that permeates the universe. It's not part of a certain religion. It's a universal quality, and every religion taps into it in their higher levels. And so the second coming of the Christ is not going to be some particular individual who comes and is a big leader. It's going to be all of us coming together. When we join our love and our consciousness together in the quantum field, that is the second coming of the Christ. And it's unstoppable. And you can see these images of the toroidal field and the central channel of the body, because the entire universe is within our bodies. This is what quantum physics has shown. Everything is holographic. Everything is interconnected. So I'm going to offer some simple guidelines to tap into this field. The first thing is to clear our field, so we're in a completely clear and pure space of consciousness. And so a simple way to do that we call a purity blast. And the way I've learned to do it is put my right hand up in the air, which is optional. And you simply say, I now command a purity blast. And that brings this like pillar of divine light, just totally clear our space, our computers, our technology, our group space, and make it safe and make it whole. It's also really helpful to call all your energy back into your own body, because by the nature of the mind, especially with being on Zoom all day and whatever we've been doing, we tend to project our energy outward. It's not even bad, but it's just you're not in your power and your embodiment that way. So a simple way to do this is just simply state it. I now call all of my energy back into my own body now, and breathe it in. And sense that extra presence in your own physical body. And then take a breath. Now, our body is not just the physical body. If you put your arms out in both directions, that's about the size of your real body. We call your divine body or your energy body. So if you breathe in from that entire toroidal sphere around your physical body from all directions into your body, and as you breathe out, send it down into the earth. Just embrace beautiful Gaia, Mother Earth, and ground all this powerful spiritual quantum energy with the earth. That's where the real action is. Now, there's a beautiful group field that's growing now as we do this. So I thank everybody for just sharing your love and sharing your presence. And here you can see this pillar of light that the ancient Mayans talked about, the Kuksan Sum. It's the central pillar of the universe. And there's also that pillar that moves through the earth and through the human body. It's all holographically connected. It's the same pillar, microcosms and macrocosms of the same pillar of light. But we've been dumbed down. We've been taught to be slaves. We've been taught to be separated from each other and to be in our mind by people that want to take advantage of us. So you take your power back by being an embodiment and knowing that you are one with the universe and there's no separation. And now finally, or not finally, but the most important step is loving presence. You've called your energy back in, grounded, and now choose love. Choose the vibration of pure love. And we're talking about universal energy. So if you put your left palm upward and put that on your left knee and your right palm down on your right knee, it's a special position to connect with universal source energy. Actually, you already are connected, but a way to acknowledge it. I am one with universal source energy. It is flowing through me now. I feel it. Now, I'm going to put on a different image right now, share a different image. So hold on a moment. I'm going to share a different image that will be helpful right now. Okay, can you see that image? Thank you. So I invite you to look at this image. And if you see it differently, go with what you get. But this is an example of how we can visualize this pillar of light surrounding the earth, the Merkaba, the light body of the earth, awakening, the flower of life, completely filling and covering her. Thank you. So I welcome you just to send your compassion, your love, your vision, your courage, seeing this planet as an enlightened planet. Each human being knowing that they are one with the universe and that we're all connected. Therefore, why would we ever want to hurt ourselves by hurting each other? And let's call in all the other light workers all over the planet to join with us on a soul level. Everybody who's doing the work, who's helping people, helping children, helping the environment, helping spiritual enlightenment, working on political levels. And if you read my book, Awakening the Avatar Within, I list all the kinds of light workers, or not all of them, but a lot of the kinds of light workers who are infiltrating every aspect of our society, even the military. They're in politics, in the military, they're in agriculture, they're everywhere, sometimes not recognized. So let's call in all those souls to join us now with this vision of the new earth. And now, if there's anybody else that would like to speak a prayer or a blessing for the earth, I'd welcome you to unmute yourself and offer yours.
I just ask that energy from Source infuse the earth, its grids, all beings on this planet and connected with this planet. And I ask that all consciousnesses of light and love also support us in infusing the earth with the highest light and the highest divine love. And may earth be an embodiment of this divine love. Mahalo ke akua. Thank you, God.
Well, thank you so much for that, the transmission.
Hi, I would love to say my prayer. And it comes
Yes.
from Course in Miracles, and it says that all separation vanishes when we share that which is holy. And peace and wholeness are ideas of what is holy. So all separation vanishes when we share that which is holy. For holiness is power. And as we share it, it strengthens. That's the key.
Thank you. So true. Now, everybody, please sense this vibration, sense this field that we are contributing to and sharing. It's exquisite. Memorize this field, because this is what's going to save our planet. Being in this field, being in unity, and then taking action from that place. So now, what I'm going to do is close this section of the guided meditation, and then we'll have a little time to have that workshop about quantum healing. I'm going to go and stop the stream that I have going. Hold on a moment so I can make sure that that is taken care of. Stop streaming. Okay. Okay, good. All right. So quantum healing, as I mentioned, is the art of training yourself so that a practitioner is attuned to the quantum field themselves in this vibration as much as possible. And then seeing a client who's going through some form of suffering as already whole, and then offering various types of support to help them to remember who they are and to bring themselves back in a bodily felt sense into that wholeness. And all kinds of healings of physical pain and depression and addiction and inflammation and so many things seem to clear up when the body is reminded of its wholeness. It's like I mentioned, I was an acupuncturist for 25 years, an herbalist, and did so many different kinds of medical and healing, holistic healing treatment, and working with energy medicine, and I've invented a few devices and things like that. And I still respect and actually use a lot of that. But in recent years, I found that working on the quantum level is so much more fulfilling for me, and I'm drawing people who are really ready to do their inner work. They're not just saying, fix this part of my body, and that's a lot more fun and gratifying to do that. So one of the aspects of, so I want to say something about why light workers are so vital on our planet. I already talked about it a little bit in the meditation. So I'm going to present a little bit here, and then I'm going to open it up for more sharing, because that would make this group way more fun. Right? I encourage you to use the chat as much as possible, even while I'm speaking, with anything you want to contribute, or a quote or an experience you're having. And then a little later, I'm hoping you'll actually join me in this discussion. So one reason light workers are so vital on our planet, and why all the well-meaning humanitarians in the world may not be able to make it happen, the shift that has to go on, is just think about human societies throughout history, especially in earlier times, is that often the person who held the highest spiritual level was considered the most revered person in that society, not just the person who had the biggest muscles and the biggest guns or the most influence. I mean, those people were there too. But in so many traditional societies, the people who were the powerful leaders would defer to the spiritual elder, because they knew that for their crops to grow, or to win in battle, or to have the people be healthy or whatever it is. All their physical power couldn't make that happen. They needed the power of spirit. So whether it's African shamans or Native American tribes or, our European ancestors or Asian, going back into ancient Asian wisdom or whatever, people it is, there used to be a lot more regard for the spiritual elders being the leaders. And in the book, The Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, a very famous book of Taoist wisdom, there's this amazing quote in there that I just have been reveling in for years, where he says, there's three kinds of rulers in societies, rulers meaning like leaders. Said the worst kind of ruler is the one that is basically incompetent and weak, and there's chaos all over the kingdom and everything falls apart. Then the next better kind of ruler is the one that's very strong and dominates with control and possibly even violence, because even though it's terrible to have them, at least the kingdom is organized and more or less it's not totally in chaos. And they said the best kind of ruler is the one that people don't even know that he or she is there. They just operate from the background and everybody just thinks that good things are happening naturally. Isn't that beautiful? They're not looking for recognition. They don't need to be up at a throne. They're just holding the field. And because of that, the kingdom flourishes. So I feel like that's what we're being asked to do. There's plenty of those inferior rulers all over the place. We see them everywhere, the medium kind and the worst kind. But we're the ones who are being asked to be the superior ruler, and not superior in terms of being better than others, but holding that space. And that's why I feel that when light workers come together in this quantum field and work on ourself, our own shadow side, our own inner issues, and really be willing to courageously, be in the truth and step up, the quantum field and this field of grace is increased on Earth to where all the humanitarian people's work will be more successful and won't just be one step forward and one step backward, which is unfortunately what we're seeing so much of these days. So how can we do this? I want to try to make it more practical. There's a term you've probably heard called spiritual alchemy. And what that means to me is something very, very important. It's knowing that when you love yourself unconditionally, when you deal with your own deep, shadowy issues that you would rather avoid, and you bring love and consciousness to those parts of yourself over and over again, you're not only transmuting your own past burdens, you're helping to heal humanity. That's so important. I want to say it one more time, because this is it's like screwing a head on a different way to get this. When you truly commit to loving yourself, and of course those around you unconditionally, and you're willing to feel your own pain, your own trauma, but not just to perpetuate it, but to bring in this consciousness to mingle with that feeling of trauma in your body, this powerful alchemy happens, and you're transmuting stuckness and suffering and past conditioning into love, into Christ consciousness, goddess consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And that is having more effect on healing the earth than we could possibly imagine. But even that's not enough. We have to come together, like people who are doing this activity, coming together and supporting each other and helping each other and focusing together. So I basically like to just offer one more brief practice and then open it up to hear what other people, I'm sure a lot of other people have something to say about this subject. I see a lot of heads nodding and people smiling, so I know you must have some things to contribute to this. Is that there's a practice called the inner smile, which is an ancient Taoist, Tibetan, and Indian practice. And the way this works is that you actually put a smile on your face, a physical smile, even if it looks goofy or artificial, it doesn't really matter. You just put a smile on your face. And you tune into the greatest love you can. Like some people, that's thinking about their dog. I mean, especially around where I live, that's the greatest love people know is their dog. Or it could be your child or your partner or Jesus or whatever it is, or Michael Jackson, or whatever it is that brings up the greatest love. You think of that person or place or thing, and then really build the love. So you can do this with me now if you like. Just build that love. Breathe into it. And um, and just build that love. And then smile down into your own body. And if there's any part of you that you're aware has pain or has contraction, or where you tend to get tight, or even if there's, let's say you've been going through some emotional imbalances that have been bothering you or conflicts, you just ask, where in my body is that most located? And then just smile down into that area. So let's just do that for 1 minute. And it really helps to put the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, slightly behind your 2 front upper teeth, and to breathe fully. Now, just intend to increase this love. You just simply say, I now increase this love field I'm tuning into. I now double it. I triple it. And you can tap into this field that we're creating to amplify the inner smile. I forgive myself. And by forgiving myself, I'm forgiving my ancestors, I'm forgiving everybody else I've ever interacted with, and inviting all people to forgive themselves and forgive each other. And this beautiful group field that we're generating, if you wish, you could just breathe that into your own body right now. Just take advantage of it. Be an opportunist. Just breathe it in to any parts of you that could use more love, more light, more healing. And then take a moment to see yourself as already whole, to see yourself already doing whatever you're dreaming of doing, or any project or any relationship or any financial goal, or you making your greatest contribution to the earth, or whatever it is. Just see yourself as already doing it right now. Okay. Now, the amazing thing is we can actually sense the quantum field with our nervous system, even though physicists say it's completely unknowable and it's beyond the mind and it's just pure potentiality. I've discovered that it can be sensed with the human nervous system when you just really are quiet and allow that. So I just invite you to just become really quiet and silent for a moment and just let yourself sense the vibratory quality of this field that we have here. So now I'd love to hear from some other people I could easily talk for hours, but I'd love to hear from other people what your experience is or what you can bring to, this workshop about quantum healing, about the quantum field, about planetary healing, anything along those lines.
Well, I'll go. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
I think we are quite a pair between the talk I gave yesterday, which is a group of women that really took this idea to task and were so deeply rooted in the idea of peace and helping to bring peace on earth, that the power of their intention actually knocked down the Berlin Wall and actually overthrew a brutal dictator. So I put a link in there, but what it does is it shows a demonstrative example of how powerful this work can be, especially when we collectively join together in a unified field. In other words, we're not buying into our separation. We're actually joining in our wholeness. We're joining in our connectedness. So when we look at all of each other on this screen, we're all alive, and we're all this one life. There's no difference in my life, in your life, and so when we understand that and open our hearts to that, and come and enter into relationship in a wholehearted way, we have a power available to us, a source of energy available to us that can knock down walls and can open hearts. And when people see that, it's so much more fun, and they want to join that, because suffering is hard, and suffering is hard work. And so it becomes very beautiful. So I really appreciate it. And I loved your movie. The movie was wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, I definitely recommend you to check out Christy's link. It's because you just basically paved the way for my presentation, because you're talking about principles of quantum physics and how that has to do with how dictators are kicked out and the Berlin Wall coming down. It was magnificent what you shared. So I really loved it.
Thank you.
I'd like to say something.
Yes,
Hello.
Karen, hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I feel the quantum field through light and vibration. It's like I see it in colors, the rays, and it's extremely uplifting, and it fills my body and makes me feel like I'm expanding my boundaries, and I feel really open and spread and expansive. So it's an amazing, to me, it's the secret of life. It's the most powerful energy. I feel like we're transforming and co-creating with the divine. So I find it really inspiring.
Wow, I can feel your energy pouring through as you say that. Thank you. Do you want to say something about what the rays are, Karina, just in case people don't know that?
Well, the rays were, I originally studied them through Alice Bailey work. And then our friend Kevin, who's right here, sent us, thank you, Kevin Adams. He sent us a cheat sheet with different rays. And there's three types. There's creator rays that are the divine force. There are the physical rays, and there are galactic rays. And they each, you can instill them if you want the quality, or you can just see what comes. And they bring in vibrational energy, like the gold rays, the divine ray, the silver ray is the mother ray, and the crystal or platinum is the sons and daughters, and the red ray is the dynamic ray of creation, and it's like the creator ray brought down. And then my favorite are the galactic rays, which are a lot of turquoise and magenta, and they have to do with healing rays, and they just see what comes, and sometimes I invoke them, I call them in, and they are so powerful. I call them the rays of radiance, and
Okay.
they're just like my favorite friends.
Thank you.
Divine imprints. Blessings.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dana. Nice to meet
Hello.
you. I really love the work that you're doing. I'd love to become part of your global Lightworker Ministry and
Thank you.
join in your global planetary infusions. And I also, I really agree with everything that you're saying about first that, inner transformation is fundamental and necessary for us to have planetary transformation, and also the power of coming together in collective efforts for the planet, especially at this time. I used to be part of the HeartMath Institute for many years. I was part of their research team, and that's where I learned a lot about both individual heart-based, transformation, and also the overall shift in consciousness going on the planet. And I still sometimes offer my own events, and at the end of all of them, I facilitate a coherent, amplified heart field. We come together as a group and we do planetary work. And I always include that because I believe that, coming together and uniting our heart energy and for the planet is so critical at this time of shift, and it makes more of an impact than we can realize.
So true. Thank you for doing that work and sharing that with more people.
And I also loved your images. They were so light filled. They were very inspiring.
Yeah, thank you. When I do these Friday 15-minute meditations, now I made that video for that purpose. So I'll be playing that for those 15 minutes each time on each Friday at 12 noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Because they're all images that evoke our memory of a reality that we weren't taught. I always think this stuff should be taught in kindergarten to children. I mean, they would get it even better than us adults would, about the quantum field and about interconnectedness and central channel breathing. I mean, it really should be. But we have to learn as adults because it wasn't taught to us. So I'll say a few more things about quantum healing. Some of the methods that I've learned to use and that I teach in the Bridge to Mastery Institute is there's work with the chakras. And you saw some of the images there. Like there was one of them that showed the chakras in a human being. And then you could also see the earth and you could see that central channel of the universe. And so when I first learned about chakras, it was that they're just these energy centers in the human body that regulate organs and glands and have something to do with spirituality. And that's basically what's mostly been out about it. But as I've learned more about the quantum field and the holographic nature of reality, realize that our chakras in our body are really focal points for different universal principles and energies that affect the whole universe. Okay, of course, universal things do affect the whole universe. And so let's say, for instance, somebody has an issue with their solar plexus. It's often considered like problems with personal power. Like maybe you find that either you're aggressively controlling others, or you tend to be controlled by others, and you tend to be a doormat to others, or whatever the experience is, or it's hard to assert yourself or hard to complete projects. Like those could be issues of the solar plexus chakra. So to realize that that issue is not just individual to that individual, it's not just like a problem they happen to have. They're tapping into a universe, like let's say at least start out with the planetary quality of people having given their power away. And they're tapping into that because of their soul groupings with other people. So their soul, Eckhart Tolle talked about it, how let's say all women share a certain pain body, or all Jews share a certain pain body, or all African Americans share a pain body, like a certain shared qualities of pain. So when you have these imbalances in your chakras, you're actually not just feeling yourself. You're somewhat feeling a collective imbalance. So that's why I say when you do the inner work and you bring love and you bring the quantum field and the quantum healing to those aspects in your own body, you're helping to free everybody else up. Of course, conversely, if you get into more trauma and more pain, that also can ripple out. So that's the responsibility we have. And another passage, so in other words, there's some methods that I've been learning and working with my clients that have to do with using sound and using light and visualization and the quantum field to rapidly transform those blocked and hidden energies in the chakras. And that often you find you're connecting with your ancestors that passed it down to you, or you're connecting with old agreements you made that might have been, from some time you don't remember. So there's that aspect of it. Then there's also what's called the assemblage point. Assemblage point would be the point in your body that's the center of this field of energy that's your divine body. So where that field of energy has a center point, and when that lines up with the center of your chest, generally you're feeling groovy. Things are good, and whatever happens to you, you recover from quickly, and so on. And stress doesn't tend to go that deep or hold you, affect you as that much. But when your assemblage point becomes misaligned, which happens to so many of us, then you just feel off in some way. And even though you get all these great holistic or medical treatments or counseling or coaching or whatever it is, it never seems to quite do it. So I've learned that there's a way to find that assemblage point and bring it into balance that makes a giant difference for people's healing. And then another aspect of quantum healing we call multidimensional clearing. And that's like inner detective work. Instead of just seeing a symptom or even the cause as holistic medicine would see it, you realize that there's causes on the soul level or on karmic levels or sometimes even galactic levels. And it's doing that detective work to find out what those are and then help that person, support them in forgiving, releasing, bringing in the quantum energy so that they're freeing themselves of that, which again, as I said, helps to free others too. So that's like a little bit more about what quantum healing is. People use that term in a lot of different ways, and that's the way that I've been working with it. Does anybody else have any experience with quantum healing or anything related to that you'd want to share?
Well, I also do my own form of energy-based healing. It's my own modality, but it's very simple and pure, and I call it source light radiance.
Oh,
where
wow.
I'm essentially asking from that energy from source come in and facilitate the person's highest wholeness healing and continued evolution. And then I also ask for help from many benevolent beings and consciousnesses that are very willing to help. And I think a big part of that work is drawing on that divine help and knowing and trusting that help is with us, which allows the healing to also be, multidimensional and to work on many levels. And that's why I call it the wholeness healing for the person. So I guess that would be an aspect of quantum healing.
Oh, absolutely. I'd like to get to know you. I hope you'll send me your contact information. We have a lot in common. That's great. So I'm going to put on the PowerPoint again to show a few more images before we close here today. I think this is it. Okay, so this is that image that has to do with the 15-minute. Okay. So this is my book that Janice kindly talked about, Awakening the Avatar Within. That if you're interested in this topic, we'll have a great deal more resources for you. And then this is the this is the website called global.lightworkerministry.com. And if you're interested in working with us for those 15-minute prayer and visualization every Friday, you can go to this site and you can list your name and email. And if you put your cell phone, I'll also send you like a text message reminder once a week. I'll not use it for anything else. I have a group text that goes out every Friday just to say we're about to start the visualization because people forget or get busy. Or you can get an email or a text or both. And so that's what that website, and it has a lot of information about the global healing activation. And then this has some of those links. The lightworkerministry.com is the website that is the nonprofit that I lead. And so we have so many different events to bring lightworkers together. We just had one last night called the Lightworker Awakening and Empowerment Service, and 22 people were on that. And we have group meditations and on Zoom, and we have live retreats. And there's also a great deal of videos about all aspects of quantum healing, Lightworker, and all these things, and a lot of quantum physics. So a lot of that's on that site. And then the global is the specific, like a side part of that site that's just based on the 15 minutes a week. And then you already know about World Unity Week, so I don't have to talk to you about that. And then here's another image that I've always loved. You might have seen this one, but it's an image, an artist's depiction of the I Am presence. Like that little person at the bottom would be us, a human being. When you remember who you are, you're remembering that who you really are is such a bigger being than that what we're trained to be, what we're domesticated to be by our society. So I love that image also. Let's see if there's any other cool images here. Oh yeah, and this is an image of the chakras in the body, but you can also see the universal body around, like golden light of the unified field, which some people call the 12th chakra, surrounding the body, and the chakras above the head and in the earth underneath. So the meditations that I've been working with have to do with not just acknowledging this greater body and breathing through the central channel, from above the head down to below the feet. And if you want to just do that with me for a moment, it's just a beautiful practice. How about if we do that for 1 minute? You could just imagine a ball of light 2 to 4 feet above your head. And as you breathe in, and it's helpful to have the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth behind your 2 front upper teeth to anchor you. So as you breathe in, just imagine that ball of light is moving down through your crown, through the center of your head, through your throat, and that in-breath ends around the heart or slightly below the heart. And you feel that ball of light there. And then breathe out, down through all the chakras below, the solar plexus, the navel, the sacral chakra, the root, and down under the surface of the earth to the earth star chakra. And feel that beautiful earth connection. And then you breathe from the earth star up through the lower chakras back up to the heart. And then breathe out from the heart up through the throat, the head, the crown, and back up to the soul star above your head. Such a beautiful practice. And it's like spiritual house cleaning. As you do this and you keep concentrating in the central channel, you're connecting with the universal pillar and the chakras of the earth. It's the best form of spring cleaning I know. So details on this practice are in my book, Awakening the Avatar Within, and also in Sue Morter's book, The Energy Codes. She does a beautiful job explaining about this practice also. So does anybody have any questions or comments just the last few minutes before we close here today?
Darren, I wanted to mention that what I've been sharing all week with the sacred geometries, the geometries of love, they are actual forms that are fusing the platonic solids. The platonic solids are thought to be the building blocks of all organic matter on the earth. And so by having them infused with a higher frequency of love, we are most definitely working with the quantum field and seeing it actually with every particle of the earth, every particle of our universe, it is radiating out. And so I want to just encourage anybody who's interested in the geometric technologies of love for this next octave of human and the next octave of love and this newly forming heaven on earth. So thank you so very much for everything that you're doing and everybody who's tuned in to you and will be watching this later. I also really am excited about the geometries that I'm working with that are definitely here for exactly what you're speaking of.
Wow, I want to learn what you're doing also. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I think I heard you talking about Metatron's cube just before I came on here tonight. That contains all the geometric solids, all the geometric forms. And how do you have any specific method for people to say do self-healing with Metatron's cube?
My interest in presenting Metatron's cube was the fact that someone had sent me an image of the very first geometry called infinite love. It was superimposed on top of Metatron's cube and was in the perfect proportions to touch in the center of every one of the outside circles. So it is infusing not only the platonic solids, but considered to be the universal codes for all life. And so the infinite love geometry, which is a new geometry with the golden ratio, infinity, first time on this planet and in this galaxy, and it's infusing everything all in one form of the Metatron's cube, which is incredibly exciting.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Did you know Meg Benedicte?
No, I don't.
Oh, you should check her out because she's a visionary healer who's been working with Metatron's cube in some amazing ways for a long time. And I made a video with her once that I could show you at some point, but it's where it shows a person standing on Metatron's cube and then all the 9 circles move up into like a vortex of light around. And she's an amazing, so you'd have a lot in common with her. It'd be great for you to connect with her.
I would love it. And what I'm seeing is that the geometric technologies, which are a quantum field, they're a quantum activator, they are actually infusing everything in Metatron's cube to an even higher, I say a higher vibration. All the work that I'm doing is overseen by Metatron. Everything received is from Metatron and overseen. He's with me all the time. So yes, they belong together, and I would love to make contact with her. So I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. So could you just say a word or two about who Metatron is as far as in your perception?
Oh, okay. Metatron is considered the Lord of Light and is at the highest realm of up with the seraphim and the cherubim, which in the Christian Judeo traditions is the highest of the archangels. It's the highest realm of angels, and the seraphim are considered to be those that surround the throne of God, and they emanate. Actually, holy, holy, holy is an emanation. And so Metatron is right there with them, and it is believed that he was given, he was a scribe of God. He was given the keys of creation. Now, there's so much, but I know that even though there are many who say that he doesn't exist, that it's just a metaphysical dream, I know that he's been present, not only, from the beginning. He's in everything, including the new energetic system for the new human, the new blood. Everything I've been working with, Metatron has been there. So you're talking about, consider the Lord of Light. So when I call forth the central channel, I call full spectrum Metatronic light, from the purest light from the heavens to come down. So yes, Metatron's cube is really very representative for me, because the geometries that have been brought through, overseen by Metatron, actually fit right on top of the building blocks of all life. So we're being infused with an incredibly high frequency of love that I'm being told will take us to what is called the next age. We're talking about 2,000 to 2,500 years in the future. More later.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. I've always felt very connected with Metatron and work with Metatron, my healing work and so on. Yes. I saw a message from Janice saying we had a little bit more time. So I'm willing to stay a few more minutes for anybody else who can, because this is great. Why do you want to leave a party when it's good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to say something too.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. But about the group energy, this group energy and the group energy of experience and other with other light workers. And it seems that I'm feeling when I'm in a group and we are meditating or we're doing something like this, I feel so connected, and there's an energy that I don't know how to describe that seems to come into the place. And it could be what you call the quantum field, because it's very uplifting and it's very, it seems to disintegrate in a sense of separation and things like that. It's so powerful. It can be. In moments, it's really powerful. And it reminds me of the time when don't consider myself a healer, but my late husband asked me to help him with an issue he had. He's manic depressive, and he would get into this extreme situation. And he said, "Can you help me?" So I was there, and all I did was do I don't know if you know Joel Goldsmith, but he was an incredible healer. And what he did was go in within himself and bring forth this incredible awakening experience he had, and that energy and that focus, and he would heal people just like that. And I became aware of him a long time ago, and I've read 30 of his 50 books and that kind of thing. So I decided to use that with my late husband. And I got this thing of this experience I had once had. It was there. It was just there present. It was like the everything, the all, whatever you want to call it. And he never had this particular thing happen again. And
Wow.
so the quantum field, it's just a lot of ways to access it, I believe, and just bring forth. And Joel Goldsmith was an incredible healer. And what he said was, I don't go into, and he thought all things that are not in line with the perfection of the cosmos was illusion. It's just illusion. And the truth is the perfection. And so he totally believed that. And he would go into the state where he understood that in a very felt sense way, and people would be healed. So I've tried that technique several times, and it's worked several times, but not always. So I don't know if that's quantum healing or what it is, but all I know is that when I have really tried and really successfully removed myself and all of that, and just open to the perfection, it has worked. It has been effective. So accidentally, I'm not a trained healer, but that has worked a number of times.
Yeah,
So,
we could stumble into healing. I mean,
I
sometimes that's
know.
been my best
I know.
healing is when I wasn't trying.
I
I
know.
well, what
But
is a miracle?
go ahead.
No, you finish.
What I'm going to say is it feels like some moments that I experienced when in a group. And I'm just wondering if the group and being in connection with each other and being in a kind of oneness brings in the quantum field. I'm just beginning to suspect that.
Right. Well, there's a few good things about the quantum field is it can't be taxed, it can't be regulated, and it can't be patented by any multinational corporation. It's a natural resource that's infinitely available. And the more you use it, the more there is for everybody else. So that's really good. Well, there's about this to just go further with what you just said, Janice.
Okay.
Even the word healer is somewhat of an old school idea because there's one master healer in the universe. And what you basically do when we get out of the way, that force can flow through us and benefit somebody else. So it takes, somebody wrote in the chat something about humility, and that's a very important term. And my life has been a crash course in learning it, I got to say, through the school of hard knocks often. And so the humility is to know that I'm not the doer, that this infinite field of pure love has, is so infinitely benevolent. So it's one of the great questions that comes up is just, why is the world so screwed up? I mean, if the quantum field is this reality and there's divinity inside of each human being and we're all interconnected, how could it be so bad, like what's going on? And that's a big question. I'm not going to have a big discussion about that, but just want to say that whatever the reason is, like in my book, Awakening the Avatar Within, there's a chapter called Creation Story, which is my musings on why and how evil started. And it's kind of a little different than what you might hear otherwise. So that's one of the chapters near the end. But basically, there's what we call evil is just ignorance. It's just a light being who's ignorant of their own light. That's basically what it comes down to. And they're basically, buying into the myth of scarcity and the myth of competition and domination, and we end up with leaders who are the lowest common dominators instead of leaders who are truly like inspiring. So here's one thing about quantum healing, which kind of takes it to another level. It goes back to the idea of planetary healing, and that is that we often think of healing as one individual helping someone else to be healed. And that is still, of course, the case. I mean, it would put holistic healers out of business and doctors and so on if that wasn't true. But what's the healing that will actually change the planet and get us through this crisis where we're actually threatening the survival of our human race and many other species and so on to an age where the divine consciousness is really running this place and cooperation and so on? Is there's a level of healing which is way beyond individual healing. And I know, some people call it collective trauma, talk about it in that way. It's not just one person. And so I think that the ultimate form of quantum healing right now is what this whole World Unity Week is about. It's when we come together and go beyond just trying to fix individual symptoms and create this field that is so powerful that it's unstoppable. And then we connect with beings that are called ascended masters or Metatron or the Christ, whatever you'd want to call it. But that the message I got in the Rockies last year was that these master beings actually they could pretty much snap their finger and things on earth would be fixed. That's how much power, but yet they're not allowed to because of the law of free will. They're not allowed to come and just fix things for us. But what they can do, I'm using the word they because it's sort of dualistic word, but just because, languaging, it's really a one force, is that they're waiting for human beings to create a powerful enough container, a critical mass of consciousness and love that those master beings can pour all that miracle energy through. They're just not allowed to do it without us. So that's what I feel dedicated to. Is that's why we do all these events and everything we're doing, is to bring enough people together, focusing at the same time on the clock, like at the same moment. Because even though time is relative, there's something very powerful, and we all focus together. And if we can get enough people doing that, being in quantum consciousness and in love, the way I was shown, it creates a vehicle through which those ascended masters and Metatron and can pour through. And we'd be shocked how quickly things would change on this planet. And the things that seem insolvable, like, like the melting polar ice caps and, just the concentration of wealth in the hands of a small number of controlling people. And, so many things that just seem, almost every week I learn about a new crisis that I didn't know existed that's threatening the human race, besides the ones I already knew about. So it could actually solve those things. So that's my vision. And this is the time. This is absolutely the time to be stepping into that. Whether you think you're a healer or not, or whatever qualification you have or don't have, or whatever age you are, it doesn't really matter, because we're all avatars, and we just need to awaken to it. Kevin, do you have anything to say? You often have some really wise words before we leave here today. Kevin is a good friend, and he's been somebody you've been working with for a while. And I really am grateful to him, because he's brought through some remarkable teachings and methods for light body activation, and that are great. Anything that you could contribute to this conversation, Kevin?
Well, there's a lot I can contribute. It would take some time.
Well, how can we sign up brief?
So Darren's quite familiar with some of these concepts, but to me, the root of it all is that everything, even things we don't like, is God. So we are surrounded by the Creator. Everything around us is the Creator. So that perspective goes a long way in changing what most people think about life, put it that way. So when you look at things from that way, and this is an analogy that Darren has heard before, but you realize there's only one potato. We don't have a whole field of potatoes. We don't have a bag of mashed potatoes. We have one potato, and all of us are the same potato. So we may be different pictures of the potato, but we're still the same potato. So that brings unity into it at a different level than most people are accustomed to.
Right.
So what that means is the quantum field is an inherent feature of that potato. Now, I'm not saying quantum field's a potato. What I'm saying is it's built in, it's a part of us. And what Darren is saying, that all we have to do is tap into it, because it's already there. It's what we have to do. We'll succeed with that in various levels. We'll have various levels of success, because each person is different, and we all have different purposes. And something to keep in mind is that we all have our purposes and perspectives and actions, because those are designed for us by the Creator. So our actions, perspectives, are how the Creator itself evolves, because the Creator doesn't have our experiences until we do. So that's my nutshell. And I know it might sound a little left of left piece, I don't know. But anyway, might give you all something to think about. Thanks, Darren.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Well, I think it's a good time to close now.
Okay.
So thank you for inviting me, Janice, and for holding the space all week.
And Antonia also, my co-steward. We're so grateful that you came and shared your incredible wisdom and experience with us today. And thank you.
Thank you, Darren.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the opportunity, and thanks for everybody who shared and offered something. And Antonia, your work is wonderful. I love hearing about it. And yeah.
We'll speak more. I know it.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Let's do that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So I believe we should always close with a formal closing with something, a very high level event like this. I've learned that you don't just like casually just flip into the next thing. So I'm just going to, there's a simple way to do that is to acknowledge the light beings, acknowledge the divine. So one way I've learned to do it is say thank you 3 times, love you 3 times, and gong sung, Gongsong, which just means respectfully return. It's like all these light beings who have come to bless us, we thank you and send you back.
Okay.
So you want to do that with me?
Okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Thank you.
love you, love you, love you. Gong sung, gong sung, gong sung. Okay, everybody be blessed.
Be
Hope to
blessed.
connect with you in some other
Bye bye,
way.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.